Happy Thursday, everybody. Andy and Steve from WagerTalk, SportsMemo.com. It is Team Total Thursday. We don't have a Thursday night football game, but we're going to go over our favorite team total overs and unders for this weekend. And Steve, this weekend was difficult. So
Yeah, for sure.
a lot of games with weird playoff implications, some with none. So we'll pick out our best team totals. We'll go over a loaded NHL slate. We only got a couple of NBA games. We'll do our sneaky play of the day and our stat of the day. Let's get some positive vibes from the audience, guys. Dog City, the sneakiest underrated betting show. Thank you very much. We try to be. Andy says thanks for your shows. One of the best in the business. Appreciate that. Night Stalker still cashing in on darts. We actually stopped darts a few days ago. We were profitable for the tournament, so just said we'll take our units and run. But Steve, I don't know if you saw. They had a phenom or just a crazy thing with the darts. A 16-year-old made it to the finals.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
I didn't.
and they're getting ready to run him into the ground. They've already signed him to some leagues where now he's going to be playing 3 or 4 nights a week. It's well, they're going to just absolutely murder him because that's what we do in sports.
Yeah, 16. You could. I didn't realize you could. I didn't know what there's no age limit. Like,
I don't know all that much about it. Corbin was explaining to me. I was like, "Who is this littler guy?" He's not even ranked in the top 100. Corbin was like, "He's this young guy that's just plowed his way through, made it to the finals." So,
it's interesting.
yeah, Rich, Happy New Year. Good luck this year, and thanks for all you do. You too, Rich. Thanks for joining in, man. DWI, love this. I'd like the picks personally delivered to me each week under his doormat. That might take a little bit of time. Every time we have a pick, run over and put it under your doormat. But and then Vegas, Happy New Year's, fellas. So thanks a lot, guys. Give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment. And we do have something. Steve and I did the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame nominee yesterday. So we want to do something new for this year. If you would like to submit one and you want to actually come on the show and present it, we are interested. So in the comments section, all you have to do is submit one that you would like to present to us and you think it should make it in there. You can come on the show. You need to have a camera and you need to have a microphone. And you can come on and we'll pre-record it and we'll go over a Sports Record Hall of Fame nominee. So you just have to have a camera, a microphone, and a good sports record, unbreakable sports record nominee. So, yeah, if you guys are interested, please, by all means, put it in the comment section. And we'd love to start getting the audience involved. So we think that'll be a lot of fun. So, all right. So, Steve, let's do team totals and... I'm going with the Steelers over as my favorite, and a shocker here, the Cowboys under as my favorite under. You are going with the Seahawks over, and you're going with the Jets under. Let's start with you. Let's talk about the Seahawks. That's a pretty big total, 24.5. Why do you like them over?
Yeah, it's a big number, but so they've scored 30 plus points in their last 7 indoor games. This is a streak that dates back to the beginning of last season. So since the beginning of last season, if they're indoors, they're scoring 30 plus. I would have liked to get it at 23.5, but it was just too juicy. It was in the negative 150 range. So I'll still take the 24.5. The over is also 7. It's like the perfect scenario here. The over is also 7-0 in Arizona this season in all the Arizona games, their home games, averaging 55 points per game. And 5 of 7 opponents that have played in Arizona this season have scored 30 plus. The Seahawks are still alive. They still have something to play for, so I'm expecting them to play hard. And this trend is just, they play indoors, they score 30 plus. Teams playing in Arizona this season are scoring 30 plus. I only need 25 here, so I'll take the over.
Nice. Seahawks over 24.5. I'm going to go Steelers over 19.5. They announced Lamar Jackson is out. To me, that's the sign that they're not going to play very many starters in this game, even if they do play him. I doubt it's going to be for very long. I know they have a defensive lineman. I can't remember his name. He needs half a sack for a big contract incentive. My guess is they'll try and get him that incentive. This is a Steelers team. Steve, last 2 weeks, Mason Rudolph has put up 30 plus points. That is their two highest point totals of the season with Mason freaking
Wow.
Rudolph there. So you heard the quotes from Odell Beckham Jr. about how excited he is. Like, this is the best team he's played on. This is a team in Super Bowl mode. Like, this is what this is what their focus is. They don't care about this game. I don't care about the rivalry. They have bigger fish to fry. So I think this is a really nice spot. You look at Baltimore's defense, and this is not going to be the same defense that they put out on the field that they've put out all season. So sneaky total. I think Mason Rudolph has kind of got a point to prove. This guy playing for a roster spot, maybe auditioning for some things. He's had 2 good offensive weeks. I think they go over this total in a sneaky game in Baltimore. So that is my favorite over. And you're going with the Jets under 14.5. So, Steve, who wants to lose this game more? Who's more motivated? What are these teams going to do to lose this game on purpose? This is going to be a great one to watch.
Yeah, great one to watch. Yeah, it's gonna be a low scoring, like rock fight type of game, typical for the Patriots and Jets this season. It's a low number, but the Jets have scored amazingly have scored under 14.5 in 8 games. So already this 8 times this season. And if we've talked about this before on the show in the past, but if you don't know, the Patriots have dominated the Jets for years now. 15 straight wins against the Jets, 11-4 ATS in those games. And in the last 4, the Jets have scored 13 or less in 4 of the last 5 against the Patriots. This Patriots defense has been great for a while now. And it's potentially Belichick's, this is as cloudy as we've seen Belichick's future in New England ever. We don't know if he'll be back next season. So I'm expecting an inspired effort by the troops here and them to hold them under the total. The Jets have barely scored this total half their games this season. So give me the under here.
I can't wait to see some of the decisions in this game. I mean, you'll see 4th and 18. They'll go for it on their own 15-yard line. Oh, what do you know? They'll punt when they're in field goal range. I don't know. No, I'm joking. But what are the motivations for these teams to win this game? Like,
that's really the question of the week in all of these games. Finding the motivation factors for all of these teams, and that's a big reason why I like Seattle on that over as well, because they still have something to play for. They potentially have a wild card to play for.
I'm taking a team that does have motivation. I just think this number is too high. Cowboys under 30.5. All they have to do is win this game. They don't have to go out and put on a show. And this is on the road in cold weather. I know it's against the Commanders, but it's going to be like 35 degrees there. And this is a Cowboys team that has been awful the last 2 games on the road. They scored 20 points at Miami and 10 points at Buffalo. They don't need to go in there and make a point. They just need to get up and win the game and just run out the clock. They're not going to put, and I think they're going to put people's players in harm's way. So this is just a really, really big number, especially if Washington is just terrible. Like, if this game's like 21-0 at half or in the third quarter, I think you're going to see the Cowboys kind of pull off the dogs, try and run out the clock. Of course, that being said, they don't really have a running back that can help you run out the clock. You got Tony Pollard, who's good for his 1.3 yards per carry. But it's just a really, really big total in a game that the Cowboys just need to win. They don't need any style points or anything like that. I don't see any contract incentives for them of meaning. So I think they'll win comfortably, but I don't think they need to go out and put up a huge point total. So we're looking at the Steelers over, Cowboys under, Seahawks over, and the Jets under as our favorite team totals. Annual special golf and auto racing is still available. We're going to leave that up throughout January. First golf tournament of the year starts today, actually, here in about a couple hours or so. So if you want to take advantage of that, it's discounted to $299. We've never had a losing golf or auto racing season, so excited about that. And to get the new year started, if you want 365 days worth of sports, we're marking it off 50%. So it's $1,000 off, marked from like $2,000 all the way to $999. So we'll leave that up for a few more days, but plus 88 units in 2023. I'd love to beat that mark in 2024, so take advantage of that. And Steve, what do you have up at SportsMemo?
I have a 5% college football play for the championship that's up right now and available, and I'll also have a hoops pack for tonight. It'll have a college basketball player prop and one or two NBA selections. Definitely one, maybe two NBA selections for tonight. And you don't need a promo code or anything. Right now, you can get a month over at SportsMemo. You get a free week for only $239. It breaks down to 5 weeks for $239, $48 a week. So check that out over at sportsmemo.com.
All right, Steve, let us start with NBA. We got a big slate of NHL, and we only got a couple of NBA teams. So, what's one you wanted to look at in NBA tonight?
So I'm going to look at Victor Wembanyama over on his PRA. It's sitting at 31 and a half. So we're going to have to avoid the blowout in this one, but the Bucks are on a back-to-back, so I would expect either, Giannis and or Middleton to sit here. Right now there's no word on Giannis. Middleton is questionable just like he was last night, but so if we can avoid the blowout here, when Wemby has played 25 plus minutes this season at home, he's went over in 12 of 13 home games with an average of 35.8 PRAs. And 7 of the 10 centers that have played 25 plus minutes and taken 15 plus field goal attempts against the Bucks have went over this number. And I'll throw in it's Wemby's 20th birthday today. So
Oh,
against
that's a
the
great
Bucks,
one.
I can see him putting on a show, and if he gets the minutes, if he gets the 25 plus minutes, if we can avoid the blowout, I love this one. It seems pretty low for a guy that's averaging close to 36 when he plays 25 plus minutes in home games. He's much better at home. The numbers dip way down when he's on the road.
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, we're looking at his home totals here. I mean, yeah, he goes over quite a bit. I will also add that was a rigorous, that was a tough game last night for Milwaukee. Like that. Sometimes you see back to backs, you're like, well, they're on a back to back, and you look and you're like, well, all their stars played less than 30 minutes. That was a tough game. Pacers just have their number for whatever it is this season. They just can't get by the Pacers. It's a weird one. So this is not an easy back-to-back situation for Milwaukee. So I really like that look there, Steve, on Wemby. Um, any other NBA plays you wanted to go over?
Yeah, I mean, the other one I wanted to mention was just I know we're going to talk about Joker after, but I would just look towards his under 8.5 assists tonight. He's under 8.5 assists in 6 of his last 8 overall, and he's also under an 8 of 17 on the road. So he's only going over 47% of the time in road games, and he's already played the Warriors twice this season, 8-5 against the Warriors. So I expect an under here for Joker for his assists.
Like it, like it. We have a big NHL slate, but I got to tell you, it's not a great matchup type of night. So I can go over some of the streaks here. You got some good shots on goal. I would look to Ryan O'Reilly as a really nice parlay piece here. He only needs two shots on goal. It's minus 180, but I mean, he's been getting over there. I mean, like 3, 4, 3, 5. So if he gets another 3 or 4 shots on goal, you're never going to see this 1.5 for a while. So I would look at Ryan O'Reilly. They're hanging that 1.5 shots on goal number out there. The other one, Bucinovic, you could, I think Reinhardt. Yeah, Reinhardt has got a sneaky decent matchup. It's just one of those where they're playing Vegas, eighth least goals scored, but 15th most shots on goal, and he's been getting over there consistent. So it's kind of crazy. Like the Florida Panthers, a lot of unders, but like there's still some offensive points to be had. Their games as a whole are going under, but kind of some interesting ones, some interesting offensive props that you can cash on that one. If you're looking for guys who are ice cold on their shots on goal, Brad Marchand just isn't getting there. What's crazy about him is look at some of these games with no shots on goal
Wow.
for him. Like that is wild. So I noticed I was playing his under 1.5 points, and it was hitting. I think they have him now down at half a point. You're not even seeing that 1.5 number anymore. You're seeing it down to half a point. I actually think you might have a pretty nice over on that one. But yeah, I noticed his shots on goal was wild. Like he's going under, and he's got games where he's not even getting one shot on goal. So those are the shots on goal. If we want to look at some points here, you got two guys that are tearing it up. Jason Robertson's got a pretty decent matchup against Colorado. That's for Dallas. Colorado's defense is very hit or miss. They'll look great, and then all of a sudden they'll have a game where there's a bunch of goals involved. And then the other streak is Chris Kreider. I mean, it's minus 180, but they're playing Chicago, who gives up. Like, they're quickly becoming. It's basically like San Jose and Chicago, kind of in that top tier. I mean, Chicago's up to giving up 3.8 goals per game. So you look at the Rangers; they're probably gonna put up a shitload of goals tonight. So I would look at him minus 180. So it's juicy. You probably need a parlay piece for it, but man, 28 shots on goal, 31st in goals allowed, and you look at he's just on a really, really nice tear recently. So Chris Kreider would be somebody I'd be interested in. I got to be honest, these team totals, man. I know Andrew McGinnis is doing great with team totals. I am struggling. I haven't played a team total in weeks. It's like you can have a team to score over 2.5 goals and it's minus 150, and then like over like 3.5 is like plus 200. It's like they just expect every team
Yeah.
to land on three. Do you know what I mean?
I've
Like, I don't know
noticed
if
that
you
with the
noticed
teams.
that.
Yeah, I've noticed that with some of the team totals as well. Where I haven't found any great spots that I've been able to. I haven't played a team total in a while myself, so
Yeah. So for whatever reason, that hasn't been going well. And then Stutzel, this is another guy that it was at. They for a couple games they had his points at 1.5, but now they dipped it down to half a point. And as Steve and I have talked about many times, as soon as that line moves on the books, man, run, just run,
yeah.
or even bet the opposite way. So, yeah, it's a good night to watch some of these games, but I'm struggling to find value. And Sidney Crosby here, this is another guy where I talked a long time about him going under 1.5 points. Well, he's only done it 3 times in like the last 20 games, so they've moved him down to half a point. And now the value, I think, is on him to actually have a point, but it's minus 210. So books continue to play games with us. It's very frustrating. But so
We're on the same page with the shots on goal, though. I'll tell you, because you mentioned
yeah,
Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly, I have him on my list right now as well, and I would add that he's faced Calgary twice this year, and he's had 2 and 3 against them, so he's went over in both games. And I actually have the parlay piece to go with it. If you pull up Rasmus Dahlin for Buffalo tonight, he's sitting at you got to get 2.5 with him. You got to get to 3, and it's negative 175. But if you look, he's went over in 14 of his last 15 games. He's
love
just
it.
on an amazing streak to go over. He's already played Montreal twice this season, and he's had 3 and 5 against them. They allow the second most shots on goal, so this is a great spot for him. And if you put Riley with Dahlin together in a parlay, it's plus 144. So
That's a
that's
great piece.
yeah, that's a spot that I really like. And then you mentioned Florida. I was looking at Barkov over 2.5. He's a guy that I like to play. He's went under in his last 2, but 9 of his last 12, he's went over the 2.5 shots on goal. He's already played Vegas once. He had 4 against them, and like you mentioned, they're one of those teams that allow a lot of attempts, middle of the pack, and shots on goal, but not a lot of goals allowed. So he's a guy I would look towards as well.
Love it. So that's a great parlay, Steve. Plus 144 on those two guys. That's a great look. Amazing that we were, of all the guys, we happen to have a couple of the same
Ryan
looks
O'Reilly.
there.
You mentioned him. I couldn't believe because we didn't talk about that one before the show, but when you mentioned it, yeah, I was like, wow, I can't believe we both landed on him out of all these games.
Yeah, so there's some good looks there for tonight. So let's move to the sneaky play of the day and the stat of the day. And again, we hadn't really talked about it. So I'm looking at Jokic under 49 points, rebounds, and assists. So I'll go over these stats and I'll go back to his props.cash page. So under an 11 out of 14 games. So he's played 18 games where Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr. have played, and he's gone under in 13 out of 18 games. And I'll go back and pull up his chart because I don't think this is a play you play just tonight. You commit to it for like damn near the rest of the season. Like this is a team that like I don't think it's breaking news, but it's championship or bust.
Yeah,
Anything less than a championship is a letdown for this team. And so this is like it's like the opposite of the dog days of of August. The summer saying the dog days of August. Like this is like the NBA season, the dog days of like January and February and March, where it's a grind and the playoff seeding. I don't know. I guess for Denver the playoff seeding matters because they'd like to be at home, but anymore in the NBA, it's just more important to have your players healthy going in the playoffs as opposed to home court. So they've got weapons on this team. They don't need to rely on Jokic in the regular season. And look at all these overs when Jamal Murray was out, man. I mean, it was Jokic central. And then Jamal Murray comes back, and they keep hanging this really high total of 49 or 50 and a half. And here's the thing, Steve. If you look at where he's gone over, barely over 51, 52, and 50. So, like, it's not like he's just blowing this number out of the water when he gets there. It's like he barely gets there. But you look at these games where he goes under 47, 44, 42, 42. Like, I just think this is a play as long as you have those parameters where Jamal Murray is playing, Aaron Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr. are playing. I think it's a play for the rest of the season on the under for his PRA. And sure enough, they're playing tonight and they're playing Golden State. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for my sneaky play of the day, something to look at for the rest of the season.
Man, he's really starting to feel like a couple seasons ago when we were playing Giannis unders, when he was on that stretch run in the postseason, we were just playing his PRA under on a nightly basis and cashing, probably 5, 6, 7 tickets at like per series when they were setting that number so high. They set these numbers, when Giannis was, it's like in the mid 50s during that time.
Yeah.
We were cashing unders left and right. He's really starting to feel like that where, he's had the championship run now, kind of similar to Giannis, and now they're, like you said, it's kind of championship or bust this season.
He doesn't care about MVP. Like they're not,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think as long as that number is like 49, 49 and a half, I think it's worth taking. So, sneaky play of the day. And Steve, you were looking at this Giants and Eagles game. Love this Giants stat. What'd you find?
And so the Giants are an NFL best 18, 10, and 1 ATS as a road underdog since the beginning of last season. And the Eagles are in trouble recently. They've dropped 5 straight against the spread. Eagles favored by 5 against the Giants in a game that matters a lot to the Eagles, but not very much to the Giants. But they've been playing these games as road underdogs that haven't mattered to them for quite a while now. So it doesn't seem like it makes too much of a difference.
Interesting. What if the Eagles are the team that's just kind of run out of steam towards the end of the season, but once the playoff starts, like something clicks? I feel like this is a team that everybody's going to be against. Even Eagles fans are betting against them.
It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much.
Well, that's a great point. They were mad at the team when they were 10-1. So I don't know. I feel like this potentially could be the Eagles team where it's just like, we were tired towards the end of the season. Maybe we get some rest this week, and then all of a sudden they come out just guns a-blazing, and all of a sudden I don't know. There's a team that surprises us every year, and I feel like the Eagles have the talent. They just haven't put it together, and it just could be the team where everybody and their mother is against them, and then it's like the chip on the shoulder team, like nobody believes
I could see it. Yeah.
and then of course if they do win, then the Eagles fans will love them, and like, wait a minute, you hated us, you hated your own team a couple weeks ago, so. That should be an interesting one. I think Tyrod Taylor's starting again for the Giants.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about Tyrod Taylor than Mr. DeVito. So, all right, that's your stat of the day and your sneaky play of the day. And don't forget to go take advantage of those plays and those specials that we have up at WagerTalk, SportsMemo.com. Hit the like button, leave us a comment. Tomorrow's show is going to be pretty special. I'm very excited about it. We're going to do our 2023 year in review and looking ahead to 2024. So make sure you join us tomorrow. And then we'll be here Sunday morning for sure to get you ready for all the Sunday games. Take a look at the weather, who's playing, which teams need to win, and which teams don't have anything to look at. Steve and I were talking that this may be a weird week for props. These lines are very slowly trickling out for player props, so we may have a difficult weekend ahead of us, but we only need a couple spots to turn a profit. So good luck on all your plays, and we will see everyone tomorrow on the road to millions.
Good luck.